You're listening to Beyond the Benchtop, a show about food ingredients. Our conversations go far beyond the lab as we dive into topics spanning from food science to market trends and everything in between.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Benchtop. My name is Kristi, as you may know already, and we actually have Mr. Mike back today. So thank you for joining us. Mike, can you introduce yourself once again and tell us what we're going to focus on ingredient-wise?
Hi, Mike Caruso, Territory Manager for St. Charles Trading, and we're going to talk about peppers today.
Nice. And not only is this your category as a sales rep, you also grow them at your house, correct?
Yes. It's a new hobby last couple of years. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. So can you tell us which ones you grow at home and then which ones you particularly sell here?
Okay, so home, I grow jalapenos, habanero, Melrose peppers, sweet peppers, cayenne, Tabasco, serranos, srirachas, a ghost pepper this year is a new
addition.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And a bunch of other sweet peppers as well, sweet bell peppers. Nice. And along those lines.
Nice, thank you.
So, and then as far as what we sell a lot of guajillo peppers, ancho peppers, chipotle peppers, and then chili de árbol as well.
Nice. So you got some overlap, but then a lot of new things that you're selling here that you don't source at home.
Correct. And then, then we also sell a lot of the pepper powders and flakes and whatnot.
Yep. It just depends on the application.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. So how long have we been selling peppers here in Chiles at St. Charles Trading?
For approximately 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the pepper craze in the foodie world has been picking up more and more, and the volumes have increased every year.
Did you find that it was kind of hard to understand the chili industry at first, or do you feel like you got a good grasp pretty soon on?
Well, for me, it was a learning experience from day one, and there's a lot of moving parts in it. It's not as simple, like a sugar or salt or dextrose transaction.
It's more complex.
So whenever you're bringing product in from overseas, there's a lot of things you got to look after. The peppers that we bring in actually are destemmed, so the stems are taken off manually, and that's a very time-consuming exercise. So a lot of communication goes back and forth with the customer as far as lead times and time frames and harvest seasons and all that. But yeah, I've learned, I've done a lot of research on my own on the actual peppers, which has been fascinating. And we're in a smooth spot right now with our suppliers. We got really good suppliers, and it's been great.
Yeah, it takes a long time, I would say, probably to get settled within a certain category. But 10 years, by that time, you already are pretty refined. So what inspired St. Charles Trading as a whole to get into the chili industry?
Like a lot of things, we had a customer, a very good customer, a staple customer, in fact, and reach out to us.
Yeah.
And we went and we found them, and we found a good supplier in that. A lot of the big concern obviously is paperwork and labels and all that, and we ended up plowing through that whole process to make it extremely smooth for them.
Nice.
And they asked, we found it, and that's how we kind of got into it.
And you said too that you noticed like within the past few years that there's been a higher demand. Why do you think that is?
I'm not 100% sure, because peppers have been around since like 7,000 BC.
Yeah.
But what I do believe, I think there was an initial, for years, there was hey, that's hot and spicy, I don't want it. You either were in or you were out. And I think the more that the internet and the more that like things like Pinterest and the food world and cooking shows and all that, people are more attuned that there's a ton of different kinds of peppers, and you can satiate
your suits you.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a ghost pepper. It could be just a tad bit of spice to it, hotness. And I think in the food world, it's becoming more and more and more.
Yeah,
prevalent.
definitely. I think like you touched down on talking about like the Food Network and the cooking channel. I think people are viewing it and watching it and seeing, okay, they're using things that are more cultural, as well as have more heat and spice to it. So they think, okay, I just got to find what's right for me. Then they start getting adventurous in their kitchen or so on. And that creates a demand then within maybe their company as well, that they want to start getting into that as well.
Yeah, it's a great way to add flavor to anything that's cheaper than buying X amount of things to spice it up,
Right, and the nice thing about what we can offer them too, it's more shelf stable than obviously something that's from your garden, which there's obviously other different processing techniques you can use there, but the nice thing is here we can offer them a greater shelf life as well.
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
And I honestly don't know if this is a factor or not, but the health benefits associated with peppers are shocking, and I don't know if that's been a reason or not.
Yeah, and one thing, so I was nutrition undergrad, and so we would always recommend the best way to cut down on sodium or cut down on fat within a recipe or something that you're using, or you're trying to cater to a patient's diet, is to use more spice, just because not only is it satiating, but it's also helping them reduce on different things that are, can cause a high cholesterol or can cause them to have a high blood pressure. So it is something that's really beneficial for that, as well as it's a natural antioxidant too, so really good for the inflammation in the body as well.
Yeah, there was a study in 2015 out of China that said if you had a hot pepper once a week, you decreased your chances by the big killers, heart disease,
right,
by
cardiovascular
9%.
disease.
If you had them 2 to 3 times a week, at least by 14%, you reduced your.
Start adding them in smoothies.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm interested to see that. Now, what are you seeing customer-wise that they're mostly using Chiles application wise?
So there are customers that use them for purees. There are customers that bag them and sell them retail.
Sure.
There are customers that use them they put them in side seasoning, with the flakes and the powders and all that. Obviously crushed red pepper is a huge seller for us, and those are the two main applications where it's retail and in smoothies and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. And I think the interesting thing about that is, like you're saying, quickest way to flavor, as well as I'm kind of seeing it too, some opportunities in like marinades.
Yeah.
As well as in sausage.
Yep.
Obviously, people are getting a little more adventurous than, say, a traditional maple sausage. They're looking for maybe
jalapeno.
Exactly.
Yeah. The marinades is another one too.
Yeah, that's something that
sure
provides a lot of flavor, a lot of heat. Really important there. So as an individual, would you say that you're into spicy food? I probably already know the answer, but I'm going to have to still ask.
I like it. I'm not the ghost pepper.
Yes.
Like, I don't like it where it overpowers and takes over the taste of the, but I like a tinge.
Sure. I used to think, like, growing up that black pepper was spicy.
Right. And now
I'm putting jalapenos in everything.
Yeah.
But for me as well, I think there's different types of things that can provide spice, and they all are a different type of spice. Like, if you've noticed wasabi, we're talking about this, like, shoots right up your nose, but it's quick.
Yeah.
Jalapeno lingers, like a Szechuan pepper is something that just numbs the entire mouth.
Yeah.
So I typically am better with, like, I would say shishito.
Yeah, that's a huge trend now too.
Jalapeno pepper.
Yeah.
Are more suitable for me.
Yeah, shishito peppers is a huge trend that's coming on. That and guajillos are probably the two biggest.
Yeah, guajillo is another one that's really great.
And I'm starting to dabble in, and if you watch a lot of the top chefs and all that, they do the hot pepper and they do sweet peppers as well.
It's a good balance.
Yeah.
As well as the nice thing is, obviously your hotter peppers traditionally are either red or green.
Yeah.
But when you get into those sweet ones, you kind of have a little mix of color. So not only is it like aesthetically and visually pleasing for the meal, it's also, like you were saying, like counteracting as well as balancing that flavor for a more refined flavor profile.
I like that phrase. I'm going to use that around the
kitchen.
That when you're yeah.
What do you mostly use your peppers with at home?
Whew, pretty much everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, we put them
I
in.
can see that.
We put them in everything. Like, I'll do jalapeno poppers where,
Mm-hmm.
you get big jalapenos, you cut them in half, you stuff them, you wrap them with bacon, you smoke them.
Yep.
Or you bake them, stuff like that. I mean, we put peppers in basically everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for cereal at this point.
But you might get into it.
Eggs, I mean, we put them in everything.
With a little bit of product development, I'm sure you can make that happen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Put them on sandwiches. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Omelets,
you'll
frittatas.
Yeah, we pickle them, and just walk by the fridge, and instead of grabbing a bag of chips, you grab a pepper.
Yeah, I love
or a pickle,
pickled
and that's a
peppers.
whole nother segment.
Yeah. How hard is it to grow chilies?
It's not hard.
Pretty easy.
I've the last 2 years personally done it, and it's been pretty easy.
Yeah. So it's not. How would you say like weather dependency?
So when it's sunny and hot and no rain, they grow faster and quicker.
Wow.
When it rains and it's cloudy,
Wow.
it stunts them a little bit.
Which is
their
good,
growth.
which is nice to hear because obviously the summers and when it's hotter, it can
Yeah.
be pretty easy to go through a drought.
Yeah, and then going back to the business side of things, the mass
Right.
amounts, it's very time consuming, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of manual labor associated with it.
Right.
And they're picked by hand. There's not machines that are picking these.
Yeah. So
And-
it's very time oriented,
Yeah, and I think
tedious.
we could grow weather-wise. We could grow a lot here in
Sure.
America, but I think the manual labor side of things
Yeah.
is what drives up the cost. So that's why you go to some of these other countries.
And what is the treatment that we mostly offer here at St. Charles Trading?
So we do both. We irradiate them, or we
Mhm.
steam sterilize them, or ETO, whatever
Yeah.
the customer prefers.
And what do you notice is the difference between those treatments, like color, flavor?
No, I don't think it affects
No.
it at all. There's a big craze for the steam sterilized or the ETO now as opposed to the irradiation, but it's all preference and a labeling thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
As far as the actual end result, I don't think there's much of a difference at all.
Yeah. So that is nice too. Like you were saying, the water and the weather, it's really not as dependent as some ingredients.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, at least on my end, it's
Yeah.
if you can grow stuff in Illinois, you're pretty happy.
It's very true. Would you say that it's pretty susceptible to insect or bug growth?
So, it on the growth side of things, I would say a no.
Yeah.
I think I don't know of many insects and stuff
Yeah.
that would like the taste of them. I think they've actually that's why they've thrived for this many years. Is a lot of animals don't want any part of them.
Too hot.
But obviously, as far as transportation and all that stuff, that's why when they get here, you have to treat them to make sure that they're completely free of any type of that.
They can
insect.
feel the capsaicin.
Yes. Yeah. And birds, ironically enough, do not have the capability to taste
Really?
the hotness
Nice.
of a pepper, and that's why they've actually been transported all over the
So you
world.
notice
because
they're not
birds
eating
eat
your
them
garden.
and then fly
Yeah.
and spread their seeds across the world.
Wow.
So that's the one animal that doesn't taste them.
Do you want to give us a little rundown of the Scoville heat level?
As far the Scoville thing's kind of funny because it's probably the most subjective measuring dynamic there is in
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
It's hilarious when you find out exactly how they come up with this. They have like 3 people eat a pepper and they just kind of, this is like 300 Scoville units. This is 500 Scoville. It's so unscientific. It's
Right.
funny.
They're starting to make it more, though. I
Yeah.
believe they're using like a HBLC.
Yeah, that's your department.
So they're looking at it from that. So it's like you're saying, less subjective.
Yeah, and on the Scoville side of things, so like jalapenos are probably the most popular pepper right now going on.
And widely accepted.
Yeah, and then from there, if you go down, you've got your sweeter peppers, you've got your poblano, which is a fourth of the heat of a
Right.
jalapeno. if you go up, you got Serrano, you got
Yeah.
Sriracha. Guajillos and Chipotles are more on the smokier end of
Yeah. It's a
flavor
different
profile.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's and then like I said before, then habaneros are getting hot, real
Yeah.
hot. A lot of people are not down with that. And then you get the ghost stuff that some people like it, most people don't. I don't. Yeah.
That's where I start to get flushed and I sweat
Yeah.
all in my face.
Yeah.
And I look very unwell.
I have a customer who's a good friend of mine who grows peppers as well, and he makes his own salsa with them and gives them out to his friends. And he gave me habanero, and I had parts of my head that were sweating that I never knew could sweat before.
So true.
Yeah.
Like I get it almost in my eyebrow
Yeah.
too. I'm
Yeah.
like, these eyebrows, I'm like, they could be doing a better job of catching the sweat.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm growing one. It's called a Red Scorpion Trinidad.
Wow.
And
What a name.
I accidentally bought it actually at the nursery, and I knew it was a hot pepper.
Yeah.
But so I planted it. I'm looking at the instructions on the back, and they said this is the second hottest pepper in all the world. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't.
Have you had any sprout yet?
No, not yet.
Uh-oh.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. You better bring
I'm gonna bring 'em in.
one.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Where would you like to see Chiles grow in, like what industry within the food industry?
So I mean, I really like to see the trend the way it is now. Due to a lot of the applications, the actual full peppers. I don't know what the future brings for that.
Sure.
Because the customer and the other people in the industry would then have to have the capabilities to
Right.
grind them or puree
Yeah.
them or put themselves. And the powders and the flakes have been coming on like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And people are using them anywhere from, like you said, meat to cheese spreads and dips and all that. I mean, it's in flakes and powders are into everything right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's good. I mean, I think it's healthier. It's more flavorful.
Sure.
I think it's more label friendly to a lot.
Definitely.
So, I think it's picking up a ton of steam, and I don't really see it going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of hoping to see it a little more, I would say, in the snack industry.
Yeah.
Because I think people are starting to really explore different flavor profiles within the snack industry. Used to be literally just like sea salt
Right.
and maybe like
Barbecue
lemon
chips.
pepper at
Yeah.
the most exotic. But now people are really starting to get into these more like refined
Yep.
flavor profiles that are not only more unique but also spicier.
Yeah. Like chips, popcorn,
Right.
all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think that's something that I hope to see expand, and I probably know that it will
Yeah.
as well. Well, thank you very much, Mike, the grower of peppers and chilies. And not only do you sell them here, but you also grow them in your backyard. So I really appreciate you being as knowledgeable as you are coming out today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thanks for listening. Follow or subscribe so you can always catch the latest episode. For more information, check out our website at stcharlestrading.com.